This is a party to be shared. Come on in and enjoy the show. Good day, everybody. Welcome to another episode of According to Michelle's. Calling all mothers, happy Mother's Day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know it's a little bit early, but I'm telling you first. You heard it first from Michelle's Happy Mother's Day to all mothers. And today, my guest is a mother herself and a budding author, mom of two beautiful princesses. She calls herself a communicator, and that she is a cheerleader for her daughters and for everybody in her life, someone who embraces life and decided to venture into a journey from the stories of her daughters' lives. So, we're going to have a talk today with Tanika Nelson Baker, my guest, who is coming back. Because now, if you think about it, I'm going to put a link so you could see the first interview. She came when she did one book. The first book was Mommy Is My Hair Nice? And if I'm wrong, you must remind me. Oh, see right there in the background. Mommy Is My Hair Nice? And then last year, 2022, she gave us two more books. Kaliah Skating Club and Let's Go Ice Skating. No, Kaliah's Club. I keep
Yes,
merging the
club.
two names. Kaliah's Club and Let's Go Ice Skating. And she will also tell us how to find those books. So she is really taking on the children's book space and equality and inclusion and all those different things that as young as they are, our children have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Tanika Baker. Yay!
Thank you, thank you,
According to
thank you.
Michelle. How are you, darling? Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so very much. That was an amazing, amazing introduction. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for thinking of me on such an occasion. Mother's Day is such a phenomenal day. And,
Right.
I'm happy to be here for it and to talk a little bit about what I'm doing as a mother in the world of motherhood and
Mhm.
to talk a bit about what I've been doing as an author as well. So thank you so very much. It's really a
Yes,
pleasure being
it's so
here.
good to have you back. I was saying that you were my
Amazing.
first guest to have come back, so I like the whole idea and just
You
to
know,
see your journey. And so, my first question off the bat, I know you have so many stories for of your daughters, little things that they would do. What led you to even just recap for everybody? What led you to even begin the first book? But let's not even talk about the new one.
so
What started that journey in the first place? Just
so
remind everybody.
so the first one really came. I like to call it as, my God wink moment, or, it was just a thought that went off in my head, really. So, writing is something I'd say that comes very naturally based on what I do for my 9 to 5. Just a different audience, just like different kind of writing, but writing in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I was at that space, I'd say a crossroads of sorts where I was wondering, what next? What next? And it was just a light bulb moment. You should write. But then the question came, what am I gonna write about? And it's like I'd say maybe the voice of God, who knows? Like you have a life, your kids have a life. You are in a new space, a new environment, you're experiencing, different things. This is something you should write about. And then, I didn't want it to be just writing about things that are inconsequential, I wanted it to have meaning. I wanted it to have depth. And so, in reflecting on the things that stood out most to me and to my family, my children, and their experiences, I think one of the most triggering for me was really when my daughter was, I don't want to say accosted, but like a friend, a classmate said to her, her hair isn't nice. And so it's something I took on then as a mother. It happened when she was 6. I wrote the book when she was 7, 8. And so it's one of those things that was still kind of fresh in my mind. And just going back, playing back the details in my head, I felt it's something because we all know as Black women how traumatic it can be, just having to deal with, all the issues, political, social. Like there are just so many conversations around Black hair, Black women. And so I felt this is something that needed to be addressed and to kind of position it in such a way that it's educating, it's empowering, and it's meaningful and it's relatable because there are so many children who are in spaces where they feel or have been made to feel like they're not welcome, they're not beautiful because they're different. And so this is something that I felt very, very deeply about and felt that should have been, my entry into the writing space. And it has been a phenomenal journey, I must say. Um, this was 2020 that the book launched. It launched like it stood for like 3 months on Amazon as a bestseller. And that was just so, so very meaningful to me, very unexpected, but welcoming, of course. It's something that I had not seen coming, the kind of response that I would get from adults, from children going into schools more recently, online as well to do read alouds, and the connections that they make to this story has been like really, really very grounding for me and has really affirmed that this is something that means something and was actually the right thing to do. And so it's been a year and then some. It's been a journey and then some since I've last been here, but all great stuff, all great stuff.
Right. Awesome, awesome. And so life continued, and now
For
we have
sure.
two more books to the catalog, and I'm
Yes,
sure
yes.
there's still some more in the pipeline.
Somewhere,
So,
somewhere.
and so when I saw the two books, I was like, yeah, she said it, it's in the
Yeah.
pipelines.
In the pipelines. Yeah.
Mhm. So
So
you're
yeah.
go ahead.
I was saying that yeah, they're in the pipelines and it's just a matter of keeping the pipe running. It's a question I get asked a lot. When's the
Mhm.
next one? When's the next one? So I suppose there's no closing that pipe off now. So
Okay, yeah, because you have actually made your mark. Awesome. Look at
hopefully.
you. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. So, as I was saying, these two vivacious daughters of yours are your main inspirators, your main what you call it now? Inspirators and the persons who originate the whole thought of the book. What settled on the two that we got? The Players Club and Ice. Let's go ice skating. Why those two? Because I'm sure there are so
So
many other stories you
there
could have.
there are so many other, but you know what? I felt like having had the conversations, like I think Mommy's My Hair Nice gave me a real opportunity to get some good sounding, like from even the children themselves, hearing them talk about, their own experiences. Not just my kids, but other kids. It like I said, it's been a very eventful time since I've last been here, going to read alouds, book fairs, corporate even, to have conversations about this book and hearing some of the experiences. And from that, it kind of told me the next step. And for me, the next step was, so we spoke about empowering based on identity. And the next one for me was empowering based on inclusion, right? And so that took me to Kaliyah's Club. And for persons who have kind of been connecting with me, whether on social media or, having read, the About Me section
Mhm.
of the book, you'll know that the things I write about are based on the very real experiences of my children. And one of the things I like to say is that their experiences aren't unique. But then the extent to which people in general are talking about it is another thing, right? So if no one's talking about it, there's really no learning, right? And so that took me to Kaliah's club, which really focused on Kaliah's experience. She was part of a club, a very real club, in my mind, a very good club. And young, full of expectations, and to just, be in that club week to week, and at a time when she expected to be participating in, I'd say, the highest point of her presence in that club, to be left out, right? And it behooves the question, it begs the question, why? Why was she left out? And so it's a journey. It was, I'd say, one of our very most heartbreaking experiences. And before I decided to pen it as a book, just replaying the actual time in my head, speaking to friends, speaking to coworkers, and saying, this was a thing. And there are some who were like, I could have told you because I've heard these stories before. And I'm like, so like, I didn't know anything about this as, a real thing. I've never heard of the experience. And that is it exactly. Nobody's talking about it. But our kids face so many
So we need to riot
barriers.
then. Already, placard.
Here's my placard. Here's my placard. My placard is the pen to the paper, right?
That's right.
So no one's talking about it. And so the experiences continue to be repeated. Our kids continue to feel belittled. Our kids continue to feel excluded, unwelcomed in spaces where they have every right to be. And so that's what led me to Kaliah's club. I didn't if you read the book, you'll see what my exact steps were. We didn't struggle or fight to stay in the club. She said she did not want to remain in the club, and that was her decision, right? I felt that way, but I wasn't going to impose it on her, right? So it was a whole family thing. I can tell you that much because her dad was there, her sister was there. And interestingly, what these kinds of things do is kind of, for us who've experienced it, I don't want to say deny, but I'll just use it for now. It deny the siblings the opportunities because this was your experience, right? And you feel the need to protect. And so you will kind of ensure that they're not exposed to that kind of negativity, that kind of negative energy that has like life consequences. It affects their esteem, it affects how they relate to people, how well they feel they can integrate. And so I wasn't going to put my other child who was hanging in the background just waiting for her moment. I'm like, you know what, let's find something else to do. And that led us to ice skating, right? That's what led us to ice skating. Yes. Yes. And so I didn't want people to feel like we're always going to be talking about. There is definitely a need for these conversations in this space, but it doesn't define us, and it's not all that we are. We have had an amazing journey here. It's been great. We've had, great relationships, in the community, like wherever we are. And so, going out there, seeing things, experiencing things, we're from the tropics, we're from the beautiful, beautiful land of Jamaica. So land of food and water and all these things. And one of these things I can tell you is that we like to try things, right? As long as it won't kill or maim or harm, we want to try. And so the next step was like, listen, we're in this new space, a great space, an amazing community full of new opportunities, new things to see, do. Let's go ice skating. And so that's what took us there. It was something that both kids could get involved with, didn't have to wait until you reached an age or, for it to be let in. It's there for all. And so that's how they got involved in skating. And they're currently, COVID did hit and we kind of had to just step back from everything, but they recently got back into their lessons and drop in sessions. So that's a thing now.
Awesome. So that particular club,
Mm-hmm.
they don't see, they're
You
not
want to
able
talk
to
about
see
the
because
club,
it's a,
eh?
oh, don't talk about it. Okay, I'm
We
sorry.
can
Okay,
talk
I'm
about the
sorry.
club. We can talk about the club. I realize you want to start a riot, so let's start. Let's talk about the club.
I got in my feelings because I'm like, if I'm
Listen,
gonna be at an event, expect it. You know what? Read the book, guys. Read the book.
yeah, you read the
I don't
book.
want
Read
to
the
put
book.
any spoiler alert.
It's a conversation starter, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't just start a conversation. The conversation continues, right? Because
Because even in the
he's
comments, that was what
yeah,
triggered me to go find out what they.
yeah,
Somebody was
yeah.
like, I want to know if I need to start a riot.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing, and so somebody might not agree with how I handled it because I engaged, but only to a point. I stepped away after I felt I did what I needed to do. Um, I felt that that is how I could have,
Yeah,
should
because as a
have.
mother, you want to try
Yes,
and protect. Yes.
yes, yes, yes. So,
Oh Lord.
but it's one of those things. It's one of those things,
Okay.
my friend.
So what's your favorite part of ice skating? I'm sure we can discuss
Listen,
that.
I was on the sidelines for that. It was a daddy thing.
Oh, okay.
Daddy is the fun one. The girls will tell you daddy is the fun one. Mommy's always so serious. Mommy's always so serious. Which is not true. It's not
I
true.
know, I understand. I
Exactly.
know.
These kids. But daddy is the fun, amazing, amazing one. He was like, listen, if he buys the kids toys, he sits the entire evening, especially something to kind of set up or some gadgety kind of thing. He's gonna be that one to sit with them on the floor, get it all taped up or connected, and he's playing with them, and he's just fully. So this was all him. This was all
Mm-hmm.
him.
Mm-hmm.
So he took them ice skating, and he was their huge cheerleader. So I remember I read this book to a school um earlier this year, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember one of the teachers came up to me. It was an in-person session. Oh my goodness, so amazing in person, right? The kids are
Mm-hmm.
just so energized and so involved and so engaged. But the teachers are too. And so there was one teacher who came up to me and he said to me, I love this book. I'm like, yeah. And he said to me, yes, because I love how you position daddy as a main character in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And to show that we're supportive and
That's right.
we're engaged and we're there. And I can tell you that meant so much to me. And I'm sure it would have meant, just the same
Mm-hmm.
um, to my husband if he was there. But for sure, this was all
All right,
him.
that's it.
He was like
Awesome.
fully involved. And of course,
Right.
I have to big up
Shout out
my
to the
illustrator.
illustrator.
Oh
Yeah, I was
my
just gonna
goodness,
say the illustration is
Wade.
beautiful.
Listen, Wade is the man. Wade is the man, Mr. Wade Williams. I have to go back to him all the time because he just captures us in such a profound way.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And it doesn't
just
look
so genuine.
cartoony. It really looks
No,
lifelike, like your husband and your daughters are
yes,
jumping off
yes,
the field. That's an
yes, yes,
awesome illustration.
yes. Wade
Yeah,
is amazing and he just does what he does and does it so well.
that's right.
Yeah. So
Awesome, awesome. So what?
he's with us through the
Mhm.
entire journey. I must say that he's
Right,
the illustrator for all three books.
right,
And like
right.
every book that people read or that I've read from, people have commented on how lifelike and how, very real the images were. They're happy that it's not cartoony, but that it
Cartoony,
captures
right.
the essence of real people. And I'm like, yes, that's
Yes,
that's the objective, and I'm so happy that it has been conveyed.
right. Because even I was looking at somebody else, totally different thing, but he looked so cartoony in his, but I guess maybe that's what the person wanted, but I
Mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm,
with
mm-hmm.
interpretation of
Approach,
your
yeah,
family and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Because even from
And
with the hair, the ones with
yeah,
the one with that first book, yeah, it was really impressive.
yes.
So
That's
how
that's
do
one of
your
the things too.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. That's one
No
of the
man.
things. It's really to the stories are real, Shelley, and so are we. And besides telling the stories and the fact that I'm in a space that I want to talk to children, I want when, if it's our Black kids reading the book, I want them to feel connected to it. If
Mm-hmm.
it's non-white, non-blacks reading the book, I want them to connect to it as these are real people. These are not made up stories about made up
Right.
people. And so, besides the stories, for me, the pictures also had to be like super real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. This is actually a picture from the actual event, a
Okay.
picture from the actual event. And I'll tell people that this is book two, but book three was published before book two because of this picture.
Oh,
The
okay.
real picture had, sorry, the real picture had all the people who were in the line,
Okay.
which showed Kaliah at the back, and all the people that were on the other side of the bridge where she would have crossed over.
Okay.
And for me, I just sat like on a whole 2 months trying to decide because I felt like the picture is about her, the story is about her,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and to include everyone else would not capture or tell the story exactly how it is intended and how she
Mm-hmm.
was made to feel. And so
Right.
Wade ended up having to do two versions of this.
Okay.
And for that reason, you'll find that there are this isn't a picture book like the other two. Um, I'd say this is for like a grade 3, 4 reader. If
Mm-hmm.
you have an advanced grade 2 as well. But like I wanted to make sure that the story really was focused
Focus is
on
on
Kaliah
her.
and
Mm-hmm.
how she was made to feel. So
Right.
there aren't a lot of
Alone,
illustrations
basically.
in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So, as you, how did you, I mean, you can maybe give us a little trick to the trade because I know you have your 9 to 5, you have the family. How do you navigate the writing? What's your schedule look like?
Listen, anyone will tell you that the writing is really the easy part, right?
Okay.
And for me it's not hugely difficult because it's real stories, right? I think that the most challenging part for me is because of the genre I'm writing for children. I'm trying to write for children, so just being mindful of that choice of words, or how you write a sentence, how well, how easily will they understand it. So these are considerations, but it's after hours kind of work, I will
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
It's after work, it's the weekends, it's booking vacation days, because school does happen during the week. So you'll find me sometimes if I have an invitation to do a read aloud,
Mhm.
um, I'll book like a morning off or an entire day, because sometimes when I go to the schools, because the conversation might sound different, depending on the age range of the kids, I'll spend a whole day. So schools have said, okay, let's do K to grade 1, and then I'll do 2 to 3, and then 4 to 5, right? So I break up the time over the day. So
Right, because
it's
everybody's going to look at it from a different lens.
exactly. So the conversation will sound different, and I'm mindful of that. So I make myself available for it. But
Mhm.
it's after work, right? I do have a 9 to 5, a very demanding one, I
Mhm.
might say. And so it's not as I would want it to be because of,
Mhm.
those commitments. And the children do have activities, because I don't want them to miss out on life because I'm busy doing this. You know what I mean? It
Right.
is about them and it is for them, yes, but at the same time, I want them to be living, a good life. And so I try to ensure that, this is after they've had their moment. So they have their classes and they have, their activities in the evenings, and then it's like, okay, so I have an hour, so I can do this or I can do something. So
Mhm.
it's about trying to manage the time and making sure it works for everyone.
Okay. And you mentioned many times about these read alouds and whatever. I actually like that. And then guys, she's in the Greater Toronto area. So my first time seeing that my friend is out there touching the people with her book, I was so proud and excited. So she had her a thing where it's in the library and she was pointing on it saying, and the
Yes.
title was saying, authors in your local area. I'm like, oh,
Yes, yes.
and then there was another time she had a big thing set up with her family and everybody's out there signing the book, I'm sure. Can
Yes,
you
I've
imagine
done a
Kaliah
few.
and Gigi Ma doing that? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So yeah, so how was that? I mean, well, you've mentioned it, but if persons want to connect with you through that way, how can they find you? Because you've been telling us about those different experiences, but how can people connect with you? Because you do it virtual as well as in person.
Yeah, virtual as in person. So mostly it has been through word of mouth, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
There's Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Ami, that's AMI dot GG Ma, GIGIMA.
Mm-hmm.
I do have an account for the books on Instagram as well. It's at Growing Up with Kaliah and Asara, same on Facebook. And I'm just in the space. So if people want to connect with me, those are great spaces to find me in. And I'm always willing. And as far as, availability goes, I make myself available as far as it's possible.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So yep, there you have it. You have a local person that's able to touch people, and I'm so proud of you. I'm really
Thank
proud of you.
you. Thank you.
Keep going with your book and stuff like that. So I want mothers watching this. Hope I want them to understand that whatever their thoughts, whatever it is, because you said your project started from a thought. They're
Mm-hmm.
able to pivot, mothers, you're able to pivot to start something fresh. It doesn't have to be writing a book, it could be anything really. And put yourself out there. Don't be shy to, pivot.
100%.
Yeah, don't be shy to be pivot because I'm sure you have touched how many people? A lot. Because even some people you don't know, you know what I'm saying, with those
That
books
is true. That
with
is
those
true.
books. So don't be shy, don't be scared. Try. The first step is always the hardest. But once you put that first step up, then the left foot, whichever foot went out,
You
out.
move forward,
It
the other
has
one
to
will follow.
follow. It
Yes.
has to follow.
Just do it and gain your balance and it will happen. It will
Right.
happen. And it's so funny because, talking about the book in the space, like you said, it's in the library in Brampton. And it was a conversation, right? Proactively putting yourself out there, positioning yourself. So I was asking, how does one get books in the library, right? And unfortunately, wasn't what I thought. But you know what? Someone remembered that I had inquired. And guess what?
Mhm.
They have this program that's in my city. So it's the Brampton Library. They have this program for the local authors showcase. And so
Mhm.
while they weren't able to take all my books, they were able to say, okay, so we have this program. You should consider applying for your book to be featured as a part of our local author showcase. And so that's what I did.
Mm.
And so, we can't let fear hold us back. And,
True.
I remember one of the things my mother said to me is, listen, if you don't tell anyone your problem, no one can help you to solve it. So sitting there thinking, oh, you have all these things in your head that you want to do and just not stepping out and doing it, um, you just never know. You just never
Mhm.
know. I applied, I asked about something, I wrote a lovely letter, right? And they did get back in touch with me to say, well, we received your letter. We have a process to do a procurement for books, but consider this, right? And so
Mhm.
that's one of the things. It's just stepping out in faith, stepping out to say, okay, what's out here for me? So that would be something that I'd encourage every mother, every person who's thinking of doing something. Listen,
Mhm.
just do it. Do
And
something.
closed mouth don't get fed.
Exactly.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Awesome, awesome. So, as you navigate and as you continue. I really want to encourage you to just keep striving. Say hi to the family for me.
For sure I will,
And
100%.
anything else you want to share before we go? Any nuggets? Anything you want to drop? Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd say that if it's one thing I've learned this whole journey, I said it just now, it's not to let fear hold you back from being or from doing, right? And whether it's being a parent, supporting your children. Like I said, I wasn't the cheerleader on the ice. It was the dad, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Sometimes we have the dads who are moms, right? Dads who are like moms, right?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is that excites you, intrigues you, that thought that keeps coming back to you 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, that inner voice that says something to you like, step forward and just see what there is out there for you and not be shackled, not be held back by fear. Um, and the sky's the limit.
Mm. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, mothers, remember, take care of yourself as you enjoy this lovely day. But always don't put your lights away. Make sure you find yourself to shine and to do whatever it is that whatever hidden talents that you may have, and that know that you mean the world to your family. You're super special. You're number one. And I want to wish all of you mothers a happy Mother's Day.
Happy
Thank you
Mother's
so
Day.
much. Thank you so much for watching. That please, how can they find the books?
Oh, yes.
Yes, we cannot forget that part.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the books are available. Mommy's My Hair Nice is available at the Knowledge Bookstore. And it's also, along with the other three, all three are available on Amazon worldwide.
Mhm.
They're available at Barnes and Noble online, as well as online at Chapters Indigo and the Book Depository. And of course, I can't forget, even though I'm in Canada, it's also available in Jamaica.
Mhm.
All three are available at Cozy Corner. That's in Kingston. So check it out. They're there, and I will implore you, please, if it's one thing I've learned on this journey as well. Listen, I could write a whole book about all the things I've learned.
Mhm.
But one of the things I'll say is, the reviews mean a lot. So if you do a reading or if you've read any of the titles, please take some time to do a review. Let me know what your thoughts are on the book, how well you've connected with the book. Truly, truly appreciate those reviews. So please take the time to review it wherever you purchase it from, or if you have an account on something like Goodreads. I'd really love to, see what people are thinking and saying about these titles. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes.
So buy and then write. Write
Yes.
a review. Buy
In
and
that
then write
order.
a review.
In that order.
Yep. Yes. Right. So guys, plug in and if you follow her on Instagram, growing up with Kalissa and Asaria
Kaliah
and
and Asara.
Sarah, sorry, and Ami.ggma at for Instagram, those two, either one, you'll be able to see all that she has going on. How do the girls feel that they're popular in a sense?
With kids one day they're good, the next day they're shy at this age. But for the most part, for them, it's been good for them, I think, because I think it has eroded some of their shyness. And like Kalia, Asara, both of them have spoken to their classroom teachers,
Mhm,
and the teachers reached out to ask me to come in and do a reading with the classes.
mhm,
And they weren't shy about it, about, oh, that's my mommy. They were actually very proud. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think just having the story told and to just the meaning of it, you know, to them and to people who are listening has been really profound and meaningful for me. So I think, it's score one for mommy.
Yes, that's right.
They're
Especially
good
since
with
they
it.
claim that dad is the fun person.
Oh goodness. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my
I
God,
hear it
it's
every day.
okay. You have 3 points going against your name, one for each book.
They'll get over it. They'll get over it.
3 points. All right.
Yes, I'll take my
Thank you
points.
so much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much for
on. I
having me,
really
and
appreciate it of you giving me some
I'm
of your
happy I could
time.
make it.
Yes,
Happy,
all
happy,
right. So,
happy.
guys, thank you again so much for making it another episode of According to Michelle's. This has been a lovely special on Mother's Day with my return guest, Tanika Nelson Baker. Guys, remember to find those books. All right,
Yes,
and
please.
also write a review once you purchase the books. Okay, all this information in your description. So if you think you forgot, it will be there in the description. So go ahead and click and follow through. All right. You guys have a lovely rest of your day and thank you so much. Take care of you. Bye.